Hello there. You're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to talk about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We'll also be doing another installment of Flick Picks. For Dylan's turn, we're examining the human condition through the lens of the afterlife and angels.
We're going to be discussing Defending Your Life and Wings of Desire. I've been wanting to do this for many, many years now, since 2024, and we're finally doing it. So I am pumped for sure. Let's jump straight into the box office breakdown from May 22nd to the 24th, plus the Memorial Day weekend. In first place, to no surprise, The Mandalorian and Grogu made $81 million in the 3-day and $98 million in the Memorial Day weekend, just shy of $100 million. So Ryan, unfortunately, Star Wars did not cross that 100, and it looks like they're going to have to start leaning towards more cinematic and movie-going experiences in order to draw audiences rather than TV specials put on the big screen.
Yeah, we'll see with Starfighter.
Yep,
how that goes. Obsession made $23.9 million and in the 3-day, and then $31.9 million in the 4-day, which is a 39.3% increase from the previous weekend. That's just for the 3-day as well, that increase. That is insane.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Like one of the truly rare feats. In the holiday corridor, we see a lot of flat holds, stuff like that, but to see a massive increase like this, truly crazy. So yeah, Obsession is definitely a phenomenon. Wild.
People are loving it. I want to say that I saw it. I've seen it 2 weekends in a row now, and both times the theater has been packed, which is awesome. I mean, to see people still wanting to come out week after week after week, really, really cool. Low budget horror movie from a YouTube filmmaker. It's blowing up right now. It's really cool to see. In third was Michael with $20 million in the 3-day and $27 million in the 4-day. That brings his domestic total to $315 million. Is that a good number for you, Ryan? Are you satisfied with that Michael Jackson number?
Sure am. It keeps going higher. Again, worldwide, starting to hit the other markets. It's got Russia and Japan left, I think. So again, it'll be a slow crawl to billion. But honestly, Lionsgate, if they really wanted to drag it out, get it across the line, they need to start doing some sing-along, some Michael Jackson sing-along or dance-along editions.
Sure.
That would bring a lot of people back to the theater. They do another re-release down the line in October for Thriller. It's the season. So whatever they got to do to keep boosting the numbers and get Michael across $1 billion, whatever that, is.
Did you see Michael?
Me. I did.
Did you like it?
It's all the problems you have with biopics. This one is one of the worst offenders of that. There's not really character. He has no interiority, no real flaws, anything like that. And then honestly, some of the sequences I didn't think were that spectacular. Like the Thriller, obviously, they're going to recreate the music video. I was like, I'm not as impressed. There's also very, they drop in that he gets inspired by, horror films right before they already started cueing the song when that happens. And it's like, okay, we didn't get any other build up to his inspiration for that film. But some of the sequences, the musical sequences are really solid.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's nothing unless you are a big Michael Jackson fan. If you're trying to hope for something more, cinematically pleasing, probably not going to get it from that.
Oh, well.
The Devil Wears Prada 2, $12.7 million. And then for the Memorial Day weekend, $16 million. Its domestic total is now $200 million.
The Sheep Detectives made 9.2 in the regular 3-day, and in the 4-day holiday weekend, it made $12 million.
Passenger, $8.7 million.
Mortal Kombat 2 with $6 million.
I Love Boosters, $3.7 million.
I do want to see that one. The Super Mario Galaxy movie with $3.2 million, bringing its domestic total to $424 million. That's a whopping amount right there.
Indeed. It's also getting close to its $1 billion target. And Project Hail Mary with $2.6 million. still in the top 10, still doing quite well for itself as we enter summer.
Still hanging on there.
Yeah, for our box office predictions for May 29th to the 31st, coming out is The Back Rooms from A24, also directed by a Gen Z YouTuber, Kane Parsons. So, way back when, I mean, not too far back when, but a few months ago, I think it was Sean was on the show and we were talking about, I think we were doing CinemaCon or something like that. We were just looking ahead for the year and we were talking about The Back Rooms. And I was like, yeah, this one's going to be a hit for sure. I said $50 million opening.
Yeah.
Back then, I was like, this will surpass that. And he was like, no, like, what are you talking about? And I was like, this has the hallmarks of something that would be a big breakout hit.
Yeah.
Because again, if it's something that like my kids are bringing up or talking about, they're expressing interest in the movie, I'm like, okay, this is going to catch fire. That's why I went like Five Nights at Freddy's, Minecraft movie, all this stuff. So I'm like, this one will also, I think, fit the bill for that.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out the early projections for it blew my 50 million projection, which I was thinking like, yeah, I think it'll hit that when projections come out. It'll probably be, 40 million, but I think a lot of word of mouth and walk-ups will drive it up past 50 million.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they were talking the projections for this was 80 million.
Yeah, that's where I'm putting it at, around 80 to 85.
So, yeah, and it almost always goes up a few million beyond that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it actually got to, but
it could potentially have a better first weekend than Mandalorian and Grogu, which is crazy.
That's what it seems like. So I'm going to say 86 million for the 3-day opening.
It's absolutely bonkers that it could do that.
That is wild. And then Obsession is also still having incredible word of mouth. Mm-hmm. Like its weekdays have also been spectacular. It overtook, I think on Thursday, it was better than Mando and Grogu's.
Yeah.
We just like Thursday total for that. So this one also seems like it's heading for another increase at the box office,
which is crazy. Weekend. 3 weeks in a row increasing, or 2 weeks in a row increasing.
Absolutely bonkers. That just doesn't happen. Like that's stuff that would happen way back in the day with, E.T. or Titanic would always have like these incredible holds. This is wild, like truly an insane box office performance. So
this is what using internet culture to your advantage it looks like, starting out small and then getting bigger and bigger as the weeks go on. This is what it can do for you. And also just word of mouth in general. If you make a quality product and it's something that starts off a little small, if it is genuinely good and it does get that sort of backing that the internet has to make it popular or viral or whatever you want to call it, people will start to come out more and more. They'll want to rewatch it. I've seen it twice. I know multiple people who've gone multiple times because they just enjoy it. People want to see the same movie over and over again if it's good. You can have your movies like, obviously there's things like the Minecraft movie that's going to make $1 billion and people are only going to see it fucking once for the most part because it's pretty bad. Or like Minions movies, people are going to see it once with their family and it's still going to make $1 billion. But if you're making something that's original, you got to make it good and quality. People are going to go see it multiple times. And that's how you increase your revenue here. It's literally increasing week to week because of how quality it is and that it's gone absolutely viral because of that quality. It's convinced you to go see it and you hate horror movies.
Yeah. So and it's one that, again, I had on the radar for sure, but just because it is such a sensation, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go out and check it out. But definitely, yeah, a lot like these films, sure, next week we can see all the demographics for it. But I imagine it's young people, it's Gen Z that's going out and driving this these two back-to-back phenomenons here. And again, it's also the horror genre, which has always been the case where it's, there's always an audience for horror and they can have relatively smaller budgets, a high concept, you deliver some thrills, some scares here and there, and then it will satisfy people. And so that's always been a way for filmmakers to break out, make it big. And so, yeah, it's been a massive launching pad as of late, and it seems to continue to be the case. So we'll see how that shakes things up for the box office in the future. But yeah, definitely, we have these every few years or so, or at least once every year, right? Like a great story, box office story that we didn't see coming at all, like with Top Gun Maverick, obviously the Barbenheimer phenomenon. This one here, Obsession, and then The Back Rooms coming right after that. it's so fun. It's going to be really fun to track and see how high up these can go, because
Yeah.
there's a chance Obsession could beat Mando and Grogu domestically, like its total. If it keeps, again, we're in the third weekend coming up. If it increases, I probably won't increase for the fourth weekend, but could it? Like, who knows? Or it could have a very small drop
Yeah.
and have a long life throughout the summer. Like, that's crazy to think about. So, yeah, definitely exciting times at the box office in many different ways. Again, Devil Wear Prada 2, comedy
Mhm.
like that, doing really well. We had the family movies, Super Mario Galaxy,
It's like
Michael, a
watching
biopic.
it's like
Like,
watching all the
there's
wildlife return to their natural habitats during COVID.
yeah.
It's like the movie theaters are like returning to their natural state
Project
of
Hail Mary as well, like that success
yeah.
story early on, getting a
Mhm.
really quality film.
The
So it's
movies
great to
that are
see.
like the movies that we want to be doing good are doing good, and the movies that we think maybe shouldn't do as well are starting to actually perform in that way with like Mandalorian and Grogu and stuff like that. The exception is Michael. Michael is still a movie that I think should not have done as well as it did, but there's nothing you can do about that because Michael Jackson's just a huge fucking star.
Yeah.
It is what
I
it
mean,
is.
again, it satisfied the audience it was going for. Like it, you've seen he's climbed up
Yeah.
the charts again on, I think, the Spotify ranking. He's what, top 3 now or something like that. Or he had the number 1 song again on there. So again, if the point of the movie was to get his music back in radio play and in everyone's cars, and also to make an experience that the fans specifically will enjoy and not have any of the baggage. I mean, it worked very, very well. So yeah, definitely exciting times at the box office.
All right. It's finally time to talk about these movies that I've wanted to talk about for years. It is time to do a flick picks. We haven't done one in so long. I'm very, very excited. I have been saying these two movies were next on my flick picks for like at least over a year now. And I've been wanting to watch them for a very, very long time because they're very high up on my list of films that I hold near and dear to me. And they're movies that I only watched very recently, relatively. So, long, long time ago, 2024, just like 2 years ago, uh, both of these movies were on the Criterion Channel as part of a collection whose name I can't even remember. It was like February, something to do with the afterlife or something to do with angels or something. I don't remember what the collection was about, but both of these movies were on there, and I was watching that collection. And one week I watched Defending Your Life, and then like a day later I watched Wings of Desire. So I watched them almost back to back, and they both blew me away in such a way that I rewatched both of them like a week later because I thought they were both fantastic. And I watched these movies at a very critical time in my life. I had just been let go of my job. I was back at like home with my family. So I felt like kind of like a loser. You know, I didn't have a job. I was living at home, struggling a little bit. And these movies kind of picked me up in a way that I needed. And Defending Your Life still to this day, 2 years later, is my comfort film. I've seen it probably 8 times in 2 years. I watched it just a couple months ago. I own the Criterion edition of it, and I own it digitally on online on Amazon so that I can always watch it. I own the Criterion of Wings of Desire. I've seen both of them countless times. I need to watch the director's commentary versions of both of these because I would like to. Let's start with Defending Your Life. I've been a fan of Al Brooks as an actor for a long time. I really like him in Taxi Driver, obviously Finding Nemo. His episode in Curb Your Enthusiasm is really good, where he's the COVID hoarder. Really, really like that. And I never really known him as a director, even though I knew that's what he was most famous for. Kind of is making his movies back in the '80s and early '90s. And so this is the first of his movies that I had seen, and there's something about this movie that just brings me great, great comfort. It is very relaxing. It is very it has such a certain tone to it. It's very liminal. It's very like calm. There's just so much about it that I enjoy. There's something alluring. Obviously, the idea of an afterlife, regardless of what it is, seems intriguing and to some degrees like calming in the sense that there is, a continuation after death. But the idea to me that uh, is presented in this movie that the life that we're living now is just a testing ground to move on to something bigger and greater is even more comforting. That like it's not just an afterlife of pleasure and joy and doing nothing. it is actually like a stepping stone to something bigger, to some higher level of consciousness, and that this is
Hmm.
just like a proving ground. I think something about that I find very enjoyable, especially in the sense that now that you're in this afterlife area, that what is it called? It's Judgment City. They're in Judgment City now in
Hmm.
defending your life. That they can simply just enjoy themselves and reflect upon their life and determine whether or not they've lived with fear. That's like the whole concept of the movies is figuring out if you live with fear. And I watched this movie at a time in my life where I had felt like I was stuck in a rut for a very long time, and I felt like I was not getting anywhere with my life. And so to see a movie where this man had his life cut short and now he has to review it and decide whether or not he can move on, whether or not he has to go back and start completely over again and relive a life, uh,
Hmm.
seeing that the thing that might be holding him back from going on to that greater purpose is that he lived with his life with fear, that he made choices out of fear. That is the only part of this movie that kind of like jolted me and scared me of like, I don't want to live my life in fear. I don't want to live my life out of a worry of making the wrong consequences and making the wrong choices. I don't want to worry about any of that. I want to just live. I want to be able to look back at my life and be confident in the choices that I made and feel that even though some of the things I did were scary, I still did these things to the best that I could. And, I went and I started a job that is a relatively dangerous job that was definitely scary to start doing. Now I'm very good at it and I'm not particularly scared of it anymore. I, put myself out there dating wise. I now am starting to start a new career transitioning into EMT firefighter. Hopefully going to be going to firefighter school in a couple weeks and eventually transitioning to being a full-time firefighter would be absolutely wonderful. Trying
Hmm.
to make choices that I can be proud of for me and that doesn't scare me. And I think this movie, the impact that it had at the time that I watched it was very, very imperative. And then not only that, but the comedy in it, the overall tone, the chemistry between the characters, the set dressing, all of it just gives this sort of wonderful feeling to it that I find very, very enjoyable and very, very relaxing when I watch it. So I was really excited for you to watch this, Ryan. You said that you watched it once before and you had to rewatch it for this. You
Yeah,
watched it
I
a couple
did.
weeks ago or a couple months ago?
Yeah, I watched it a few months ago. I
Mhm,
think we were going to do flick picks around that time, and so I was like, all right, let
mhm.
me put this in, let me watch it, get it prepared, and then for whatever reason that didn't come to fruition. So
Right.
I was like, all right, I'll just wait, and then depending on when we got around to it, I would decide if I wanted to watch it again. And I was like, yeah, I'll watch it again because I think your note there about how it is a great comfort movie is very true. Like just the vibes
Mhm,
of the film overall
mhm,
is pleasant, and even though it does deal with again, like looking back at somebody's entire life, and obviously there's going to be some of the moments that are more difficult than others, or moments where yeah, it's just the two parents fighting when he was like a child, a toddler, basically. Which what did they do to that kid in that scene to make him cry like that? It's
right?
the
It's
best
not so sad.
acting, which is again, it can't actually be acting because no kid would be that good like
Dude,
that. But like,
wait until you watch Where's the Friend's House by Kiarostami. Oh my god, dude, there's a scene in the beginning of the movie where they make a kid cry in class.
mhm,
Oh my god, they had to have just yelled at that child in real life. There's just no
yeah,
way.
that's one thing. I'm like, what did they do to this poor kid? And they focused on it so long too. I'm like, they had this kid for a few minutes at least crying like this. But again, it was fun out because it's so heart wrenching to see that. And so obviously you see like in these traumas or intense pain that you gather as you go through life. But on the whole, the film is very pleasant, even just like from the score to Meryl Streep, whose entire character is just delightful, and that's like the poor characters that
Mhm.
she's like perfectly, skating on through this trial process
This
so that
is
she
one of my
didn't
favorite
live a bad
performances of
life.
hers. She's fantastic in this movie. She's just so energetic and like light and dynamic.
Hmm.
She's incredible in this. They have a great chemistry.
100%. So, yeah, even just watching that play out, their banter, it's really heartwarming. Like there's something about that's super nice. And then I do think just really solid writing, a solid way to portray the message of, and it comes through early on, right? Like the whole trial is about whether or not you're going to have uh, too much fear in your life, which therefore they were saying like, oh, it's like the fog that clouds everything, it makes you stupid, it makes you only use 3% of your brain or whatever it was. So the whole idea is like, yeah, so fear is something that you want to be able to overcome and conquer while you're on your life on Earth.
I love
And
when he says,
so,
I came from a world of penis envy. Now I'm in a world of brain envy."
yeah.
It's really good.
And then Meryl Streep puts up the measuring how big it was. So, yeah, that whole idea, becomes very clear as like the central theme is, right? Overcome fear. That's what's holding you back. And then I like the way that they tied it into, which I feel like has to be a breach of the rules, like the legal rules there, but having it come around, this is spoiler if you haven't seen it, to him ultimately once again succumbing to fear in that relationship with Meryl Streep, who he had said up to that point, it's like, oh, this is so effortless, it feels so easy, I feel so okay in this relationship.
Mhm.
But then he acts out on fear,
Mhm.
and so that proves without a doubt essentially that he's still not living without fear or able to push past it.
Mhm.
And then the whole ending of the film, of course, is him having to, in a very dramatic moment, running across the trams and trying to get to her, and through that overcoming the fear. So I just think it's a great way to encapsulate that whole idea of
Mhm.
fear is this big terrible thing that certainly
Right.
does in our own lives, like prevent us from certain degrees of happiness or being able to prove ourselves in one way or another, and he has to overcome that. But the majority of the film is just a comedy of their really strong relationship with each other, or just his one-liners or little commentary on things here and there. So yeah, I think it's definitely an extremely pleasant movie, and I can see how it carries a strong, impactful message, especially if you're watching at a time where you needed that. I think it gives it to you. Like it's very healing and inspiring in a way that's not
Mhm.
too, like sit you down for a message.
Mhm.
It certainly has a clear message, but it just sort of wraps you up in it, in the joy of the film overall, the tone of it, and then gives a really heartwarming, like happy
Mhm.
ending, Hollywood ending to the film that also carries a great meaning of like this was him finally being able to overcome that fear, let it go,
Mhm.
and find the happiness that he craved and deserved. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful way to look at it. What do you think of the world building itself? Having to create this entire vision of the afterlife that is unique from most other interpretations in its own way. This look of Judgment City, the feeling that Judgment City has, all the hotels that they're in, the restaurants they go to, the bomb shelter comedy club.
I'd also love to know again, how do they get the assignments of the hotels? Because another good gag is him
Yeah.
at this very crappy hotel. I mean, it's fine, it's decent, but
It's like a Holiday
she's
Inn.
at this like fantastic
She's at the Ritz
resort
Carlton, yeah. He's like, "This
hotel.
is
Yeah,
your
the Ritz Carlton of
hotel?"
the afterlife. She has a tub, a jacuzzi in her bathroom. So yeah, I think that's a good gag there. All the little the advertisements, the billboards, all that
Mhm.
stuff, like really fun gags. Um, and yeah, I think overall, like creating this world, this like pit stop, basically, where they're there for 4 days or 5 days, however long it is, and it's basically them just having to go through a trial,
Yeah.
and again
Which is
that
great
defense.
too. Love trial stuff. Love
I
it.
yeah, so
I do love the philosophical arguments that they get into, the two quote unquote lawyers that are trying Al Brooks, the arguments they get into philosophically of whether or not what he did was acting out of fear or not out of fear, whether fear
mhm,
played a factor in it. I do really like that, you know.
I do
I
too.
think
I think
because it
it was
really is like any decision you make in your life, you can make an argument maybe one way or another, sometimes stronger one way, sometimes stronger in another, but really nothing is clear cut. Everything is kind of black and white, and that's the whole point of the movie. Is you're rewatching scenes from his life that are being played out, and it's about the interpretation of whether or not you think he made the right choice, whether or not he was living out of fear, a lot of the times in the beginning, he's talking about how, oh, that's what it is. I didn't make enough money. Was it? Because they bring up the investment that he makes into the cows who all lost their teeth. He makes he talks about not
Imagine
going
that though.
through,
You're on trial and it's like, hey, dummy, you made this stupid investment call, and it's like, what if I was just dumb? What if I just like it
yeah.
wasn't out of fear? What if I was just stupid? But
And that's an argument you can make based on the scene that we see, you know. In a
yeah,
lot of ways you could make the argument that maybe he was just stupid and really thought Cassio wouldn't be big. But then you look at the scene where he's with his wife and they're pretending to do the interview negotiation, and he's like dead set on getting $60,000. He needs $60,000. There's no way he'll take less than $60,000. And then they show the next day where he's meeting with the boss, and the boss says, "I'm prepared to offer you 45," and he says, "Deal." And he shakes his hand immediately. And
yeah,
it's like, well, is that really out of stupidity? No, he knew what he wanted, and he was afraid of not getting anything out of it, and he really wanted this job, and so he caved and went with 45,000. You know, and
yeah.
I think things like that happen all the time. I mean, I myself, as you know, just bought a truck, and I sat and negotiated for many, many hours to try and get that price down, and I did not get it down to a price, the price that I had originally wanted walking in there. I said I have a firm price. This is my price. If they can't get there, I'm going to walk out. And it was over that price, and I still took it because I really liked the truck and I wanted it.
Hmm.
Am I living out of fear because I didn't get what I wanted and I left? Is it would have been more fear to walk away from something I really liked just because it was a little more expensive? I don't know. I just knew what I wanted. I knew what it cost and what it was going to cost me, and I think I could have covered it, even though I would have wanted it for a little less. And I got the truck anyway. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know if it was out of fear. I don't know if it was out of a lack of fear. If I was just being stupid. I have no fucking idea. But looking back on it, I don't have any regrets whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, I think for the most part, all the stuff that gets played on there, I think it is pretty clear cut that it's him like acting out of fear. I think it's
Yeah,
funny seeing some of the like the defense lawyers ways that
he's
he's like
great. Rip
actually
Torn is fantastic in this.
the one where he's like, this is a boy that respects his father. He can't lie to his father. And he's like, yeah, I pretty much never lied to him. And then she's like, oh, really? All the other ways that he like hated,
Do you
disrespected,
want me to
lied to
bring
his
up
father, and lied
300
to everyone else.
instances of you? We don't need to see
That I
that.
said pretty much never lied. I never lied. So
Really good.
that stuff was good. That's a great example again, like him going in with a firm price, practice for it, and then still folded under the circumstances. And then I don't know. Did we talk about this? You and I talked about this one time where generally I am a non-confrontational person for the most
Mhm.
part,
For the
and I
most
do
part.
think a lot of times that actually does. And again, I don't know if that's out of fear. I think a lot of it is just genuinely not wanting confrontation. But
Mhm.
I feel like there's times where I don't stick up for myself enough in certain situations.
Okay.
Like I'm not the guy that's gonna complain about the food and like get it sent back and brought back out. I'll just be like, okay, whatever. Like if something went wrong with it, I'll be like, fine. You famously know I don't like cheese on my burgers.
Very
If
fair.
something like that happens, I'll
You
just
don't
be
like
like, all
anything
right,
on your
whatever.
burgers.
I like sauce on my burgers, and then I'm fine
You like
with,
meat and sauce and bread.
yep, that's good. Again, lettuce has always been fine on there.
Okay.
Again, if onions end up on there, that's fine. The
Okay.
occasional tomato, I don't like too many tomatoes. Pickles, no. Um,
Bro, love a good pickle.
but certainly not cheese on my burgers. Again, I want the burger to speak for itself. And so, yeah, if that happens, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll live with it. Um, there's that one time at Regal. Did I tell you
Yeah.
this? Where
No.
I was trying to go through the line, but the kiosks were down. So then I was like trying to go through the line, and then I just needed to get a ticket. Like that's all I needed. I didn't need concessions, anything like that. There were, I think, just one cashier. Someone was up there already, and they were taking a long time. And there were two people in front of me, and I could see they had like a snack, and they were going to get popcorn and something like that. So I asked them. I was like, "Oh, hey, can I? I just need to get a ticket, like real quick. That's it, and then I can go to my movie." Because it was one of those things with a showtime. I'll just use this right here. Let's say it starts at 5:20. Right now it's
Mhm.
5:40. So, and we know, there's that buffer of 20
But you're pushing it,
to
yeah.
30 minutes, but I'm starting to push it. I still need to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, I'm just like, this is taking a long time. So I was like, hey, can I just go in front of you? And they were like, yeah, like they were perfectly fine. They didn't care at all. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, that's very sweet. I go up to the guy at the cashier station and I was telling him,
And you were like, "Can I
oh,
get a popcorn? Can I get a
yeah,
Diet
no.
Coke?"
I was like, oh, can I get a ticket for whatever the movie was at the showtime? And he was like, sure. Then he goes because I guess he saw me like ask to go in front of the people. He was like, "Oh, by the way, it doesn't start until 30 minutes after, so you have like 10 minutes left. You didn't need to cut." And
What?
I was like, "What?"
You didn't need to say
So
that.
the way that actually happened was it was like something he had said as I was leaving. Like I was turned, like I got the ticket, and then he had said something like, "Oh, it's like the 30-minute buffer, so you didn't need to like jump ahead." He didn't exactly say jump ahead or cut, but it was something like that. Like he clearly implied that I like forced my way through rushing in
Mhm.
order to get there, and he was like, "Yeah, you didn't really need to." And I was like, "Wow, okay." So I didn't say anything there because again, I was already like I had gone in motion to start turning and walking towards the
Mhm.
theater when he said that, and I was like, but it was that thing where I immediately clocked being like, why did he feel the need to say that?
Mhm.
I asked them, and they let me go in front. Like they were
Yeah.
perfectly fine about it.
They're gonna
Anyway,
they're gonna play that back after you die.
well, here's what they might play back because I go to the theater. The movie had just started. It started playing, and this was so it started after like 20 minutes or 25 minutes. It wasn't the full 30 minutes or whatever.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, okay. So he lied to me. Number one, he was wrong about that. And then two, he tried to make me feel like a bad guy for asking to go in front of the people that are in front of me to get the ticket so I could go to see the movie on time, which I did, which I wouldn't
Mhm.
have had I A, listened to him that it was 30 minutes
Right.
after, or B,
What if they were also seeing the same movie as you
waited
and you
behind the
made them
people.
late to the movie?
I don't think that was the case.
But what
But
if,
they
hypothetically?
willingly let me go ahead, which is fine. And then if they were still, because again, they were waiting for their popcorn or whatever they were going to get. So
Mhm.
again, that part I have no issues with. But anyway, as I was leaving, I saw that guy. He was like in the hallway. And so a part of me really wanted to go up to him and say, like, yeah, the movie started after just 20 minutes, not 30. Something like that. Like just some sort of
Did
remark
you?
to him. I didn't. I
Oh,
did
they're gonna
not.
play that after you die, yeah.
And so I was wondering, I was like, was that because again, generally I'm just non-confrontational, so I wouldn't normally do that. But because he
Mhm.
pissed me off, like I felt that urge. But I was like, did I not do it because I was being a good person, or because it was a little bit out of fear and whatever the conflict might bring? Which again, he would have said, "Oh, sorry about that," and I would have said, "Yeah, you're a schmuck." I wouldn't have said that. I just would have been like, "Yeah, thanks," and then headed out. So it's not like there was any risk of it escalating to anything. But
Yeah.
it's just something like that where I think back on of like those instances where, and that's not really sticking up myself, but I was wronged. I think in that occasion where like he made an assumption about me that was clearly
It was a
wrong.
little rude, yeah.
It was a negative assumption, and I didn't like that. And so I
What did
felt
you
in
say
some need
back
to
to him in
level
that
that
moment?
out.
In the moment that he said it to you, what did you say back?
I didn't say anything back because I was already leaving. Again, it was like
See,
some remark
I would
he
not have
made
said
as I
something
was
on the
on the way out.
way I would not have said something on the way out of the theater because I think, 2 hours plus later, it's not worth bringing up again. He's probably even completely forgot about it. I
Yeah.
think in the moment, I would have said, "Oh, they didn't mind. I'm just worried about missing my movie. It's not a
Yeah.
big deal." I would have said it's not a big deal.
Hmm.
And then if it escalated from there, then you can defend your point because it's like, "Why are you still upset about this? This has nothing to do with you. I asked them. They said it was okay. I skipped them because
Exactly.
they let me, and now I'm just trying to get my ticket. What business is it of yours
Yeah.
to bring this up? I'm letting you know that they don't mind that I'm here right now. I'm just buying a ticket. You can keep your opinion to yourself because this has
Exactly.
nothing to do with you."
But and here's another
But I
case.
would never,
Were
I would
you
never have brought it
there?
up after the movie because at that point it's moot.
Well, kind of, but I think you would have remembered because I mean it's late. There's not many people because this was I said like the 5:40. It was like a 9:20 showing actually. So there wasn't, and it was a weekday. I think actually maybe it was a
Mhm.
Sunday, and so it was not like there would have been too many other people. And I'm sure he would have probably remembered that remark unless he just makes rude comments to everybody. But if I were like a cashier, again, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that to a customer, but I feel like I
Mhm.
would remember if I would have said something like that.
Dude, I
Um,
would only ever say something about someone cutting in line if the guests, like, actually cared. You know what I'm saying? If
two
I
things
if I've
about that.
witnessed 2 guests in line and one of them goes, "Hey, do you mind if I go ahead of you?" And the other one goes, "Yeah, sure, go ahead," and they willingly swap places, I don't give a fuck. "Hey, come here, let me service you guys. I'll get you both through here real fast."
Yeah, who cares?
I don't fucking care one fucking bit. But I've seen many times in, like, a desk job because 'cause I've worked multiple now, where I've seen people try and cut the line and the guests get upset, and I'm like, "No, your ass is getting to the back of the line. You cannot cut the line. Wait to the
Yeah,
back. I don't care
indeed.
what you're here for. I don't care what your problem is. That's the line. You're gonna wait in it."
But there's other occasions where, like, without without thinking about it too much or anything, I will step in or say something. There's one time, were you there? It was when we were at Dollar Tree at the Oviedo Mall getting something, and there was some dude in the aisle with us, and I guess because there were a few of us there, and we were like just maybe taking up a little bit more of the aisle than we should, and so he was like getting ticked off with like having to weave through us or something like that. He said something, and I have no idea what
I don't
was
think I
said,
was there.
but he said something that was very schmucky, and then so I had a retort back to him, and then he started getting. And this is again, we were like high school kids, we were 16 or 17 or something, and this was a grown man, and then he started saying something back to us, and then again, I immediately was just like, okay, yeah, yada yada, like get out of here, bro. Something to just shoot him
Get
away.
my face, Chud.
We should just. No, I like schmuck. I do like schmuck. It's a pretty rare.
I'm getting into Chud as I get older. I think
thing.
Chud is really
You're
funny.
saying Chud is really funny because it's not a thing that you grow into as you get older. I feel like
nobody wants to be called a Chud.
I feel like it's almost exclusively an internet thing too.
It is.
To get called Chud in real life like that, someone's gonna get really torqued out. But that brings me to another thing, which you were there for. You remember this? It was at Epcot, I think, test drive.
Yeah.
Where we were going through and you had to like set up your car and they'd have to fold back into the single file line. And
yes.
Were they Australian or British?
I don't know, but I got fucking annoyed with those people. Yeah. I almost got into a fight in test drive test line. You remember this?
Funny. I remember it vividly because I'm like, this is crazy. But yeah, so I forget what it was. I think
I know what it was.
They cut in front of us, or were we in front of them? But
so
either way,
our
it was like
party
something
got
was like
split.
cut.
What happened was we wanted to, because it's a single file line, and then it splits into two lines, and then it goes back into a single file line. And so we were trying to rush through from that split to get back into the single file line ahead of everybody else. And half of our party went forward kind of fast, and the other half didn't catch up. And so there was a family in between us, and it might have been a little rude, but I was like, hey guys, just come up here. Like there's like two of us behind this one family. I'm like, guys, we're right here. Just come here. Like, it's not a big deal. We're all getting on this ride. Who cares?
Yeah.
And then this family goes, you're just going to cut the line? You're going to cut the line. Really? You guys are going to cut the line. We were ahead of them in the original single file line before we split off. I know we were ahead of them by a lot. And they're trying to get ahead of us because they just want to get through the ride faster. I've lived in Orlando my whole life. I've been to the theme parks my whole life. I'm used to being in a line. I know how the line works. You wait in the line, and eventually everybody gets through. It's not a big fucking deal. And so this Australian family is like, "Yo, you're gonna have your friends cut in front of a little girl? Is that what you're gonna do? In front of a little girl? Really? You think that's okay, right?" We're like 19. We're in college at the time, and I'm like, "Buddy, it's not a big deal. We're all gonna get on this ride in like 5 minutes. Are you really gonna cry about it? Are you gonna cry about it?" I got really mad at this guy.
It's like a 4-person, like you get 4 people to a car, right? And
something like that.
And so they were going to be together anyway.
Yeah,
we were going to be together anyway, or at least
the problem wasn't being together. They just didn't want to be cut anymore because it was a very long line, and they didn't want to wait anymore. And
it's like those, like when you get called up, and it's like, okay, party of 2, party of 4. Like, it's not like you two being in front. That would have been you two would have got called up, and then it's not like they would have went because they wouldn't have split up their own party of 4. So then they would have grabbed the next 2 people in line, which would have been us. But we just want to stand in line with you guys, right? So it's like,
we just want to stand together. Our party got split up, and I was like, well, if our party split up, let's bring our party together. And why would we step farther back into the line when we were already ahead of you before the party got split? You know what I'm saying? And it's a fault of the test track line to do it like that, to have the party get split like that. And there was a couple rides like that at Universal where at some point the single file line gets like put into a big room where everybody's standing as a group, and then you move back into a single rider line. If you have a large party, it might be like tough to keep everybody together, but bro, like you have to keep people together. Like, it's our party. We want to stand next to each other. You can't just split us up. And it's like, we shouldn't have to stand behind you because you decided to push past everybody to try to get farther in the line and split our group in half. Go fuck yourself, Australians. They were threatening to call security. They're like, we're going to call security on you guys. And I was like, do it, Chud.
Oh, security. Yeah,
fucking do it. We're gonna go and get the Disney security on you for cutting in front of a little girl, in front of our little girl. I don't care.
Right. I know, but it's funny things like that because again, that moment back then and to me now was just funny. It was just funny to see you in particular, like standing up against them and being like these mofos.
Because who are you to say something? It's like one thing to be upset. Like I get like, oh, this kind of sucks. You're a little bit farther back in the line you were before. But to actually say something when you were in fact behind us the entire time, fuck you,
mhm.
man. Who
What
are
did
you
they
to
say
say this to
about
a
that
bunch of
though?
kids?
Wasn't that were they denying
I
that
know. I don't think
they
we
were in
fought
fact
about
further
that.
back?
My whole argument was, why does this even matter? We're all getting on the same ride, and I know that I've been on this ride before. The end of the line is right around this corner. No, none of us are going to wait more than 10 minutes. Why do you care? And I guess
Mhm.
the retort back is, why should I care? Why don't we just step in the back? Does it really fucking matter? But no,
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
because at that point you were on principle, so you
I
were
was on principle. I was on principle in the fact that we shouldn't have to split up our party and go behind you just because they tried to rush past everybody to get ahead of the line. It was stupid.
right.
Anyway, I did not live
Hold
my
them,
life with fear in that moment. I was
hold them
very
to
upset.
task. But yeah, so it's things like
I think
that where
ultimately we did step back because the people in our party did not want to fight. I
well,
was
that's
willing
what
to
I was saying
fight.
because I again at that point again I thought it was just funny,
I thought you were
especially
funny.
because they were
Yeah,
before.
nobody else
But the
thought it was
other people in
funny.
our party, the girls were probably like, "Let's just calm down. Let's just
Yeah,
like
they
it's
they
not that
did not
serious."
want to fight. They did not want to argue. They wanted to just like, it's not a big deal. Let's just step in the back. And I was like, fine, whatever. It just feels stupid to be standing behind these people now for the next 10 minutes when they're a bunch of assholes.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
like I like I fought with a little bit of people when I was at that age, and I fight with even less people now. And what's funny is, I think if I was in that situation now, I probably wouldn't have even thought about it. I would have just stepped back and been in the back of
Mhm.
the line to avoid a confrontation like that. And the only time really that I argue with people is when they come up to me at my job for like customer service reasons and they just think they're entitled. It's the only time I ever argue with anybody nowadays.
Mm.
I don't really argue with people over stupid shit like that. I don't get upset about things like that. I don't know. If a family cut me in line at like Disney or something, I probably wouldn't say anything just because I don't care.
Right.
It's just too much energy. It takes too much out of me at this point.
So it's not out of fear; it's out of exhaustion.
I am exhausted. Yeah. That being said, I will fully stand my ground at my job. If you think you're right and I know you're wrong, too fucking bad. You're out of luck. You're wrong. Sorry. I will
Hardcore.
sit there and I've sat there at my job and I've over explained something 4 times because I know they're wrong. And I've been like, I can't explain to you this anymore. Like, you are incorrect and this is why you're incorrect. Do we really have to do this a fifth time? It's crazy.
Right. But yeah, I
Like,
know.
I was
I just think it's
exhausted.
interesting with that example because again, that one of
I
that
forgot
regal
that happened.
dude was an example of me again like having the urge. I ultimately didn't do it, and again, I don't know really why. I don't know that it was fully fear based because nothing would have happened.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know that was also a perfect like I'm choosing to just let it go because it's still he was wrong. And again, there's an instinct to me that always wants to kind of correct somebody on that when it's something like clearly factual, which was again A, I asked the person in front of me, and then B, the movie started earlier than he said it would. So it's like he was wrong on both accounts. So he had a characterization of me that was false, that I didn't like, and then it was also just straight up wrong. So stuff like that tends to just make me want to, I don't know, point something out or
That I
go into
understand.
that
Yeah.
confrontational mode. Or again, stuff like the cutting the line, which I was just at nothing like that happened. I don't know why people would cut the line other than again something like that where like you were out of line. Actually, I guess it does at the monsters, the Frankenstein thing. It sort of ends up like that because you go into like multiple rooms where you're not
I
in a
love how
single
the
file,
Universal Rise are like that because they
and
want
then
to
you have to
they
go
want
into
to
it.
chop up the mundanity of standing in a line, and so they'll
Yeah.
turn part of the line into a show. And the only way to do that effectively is just to go from one line to one big room where you cram in, and then back
Mhm.
into a single file line.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, including myself, have a habit of, when you know where that room's coming up, as soon as the doors open, you'll rush to the other side of the room because you know the doors are going to open up next to
Yeah.
continue on, so you can kind of jump skip the line
We
essentially.
did that in because the first time we did it, I didn't know which way the doors open because again they hide it right. So it's like the bookcases that open up
Yeah,
and lead you to another room. So the first time I was like on the other side of the room, and Mason was like, "Bro, stop! Like we got to get over to the right." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then next time we went through, we did that. Like we knew, okay,
yeah.
we got right
Was
up
the
next to us
Frankenstein
when
ride
it opened.
good?
We rushed through. It's great. I think you would love it.
Ah, fuck,
It's
dude. I
fantastic.
want to do it
It was
so bad.
definitely it's by far the best bang for your buck because there's almost no line. The first time we went
What?
through, it was like 25 to 30 minutes,
You're
which
fucking
is like
kidding me.
the longest the longest it is. Every other time, because I would check the app, I always had the app open. Dude, Minecart Madness was always north of 2 hours. We stayed in
Yeah,
there for 3 hours. The ride freaking broke on us. And so
yeah. That
we
ride's
were
only
already
okay.
too far in. It's pretty good, but it was not worth 3 hours.
It's okay.
And then yeah, so the Frankenstein ride, it
I can't believe
was
30 minutes. It's like the most popular ride there.
It's a 15 to 20 minute.
How? Did they just pump people through it really fast?
Yeah, because it's just constant, people going through.
I know it's like the Harry Potter ride where it's just a conveyor belt and they're just constantly putting people on, but
Yeah.
I guess they must have just gotten down like the flow of it really well, which is cool.
They did. But
I mean,
it's also
30
because
minutes
you're
for a ride-
engaged more because you have the room with Igor, which is fun. And then you have the room with after that, there's another room with it's like a little bit of a show.
Okay.
So those help it feel not as long. But straight up, I'm telling you, look at right now what the
30 minutes is fucking nothing, bro. Velocicoaster is sometimes longer than that. That ride's been open for years.
I know. I was looking at the other things because I'm like, because the thing I've always hated about the theme parks is it's just a waiting in line simulator, and it's getting worse and worse over the years.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, I was always over it, but even now, I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I was really resisting.
Dude, that's why I miss Dueling Dragons. Dueling Dragons was a 10-minute wait, bro.
On principle, I was like, I don't want to wait like the 2 hours or whatever for this. Yeah, again, the monsters.
Did you do the How to Train Your Dragon roller coaster?
Yeah, we did everything except the Stardust Racers because I can't do all that stuff. But I was surprised that one's also extremely short. Wait, it's like 15 to 20 minutes.
That's incredible. You guys must have gone on a really good day or something.
It was an okay day. It was the Thursday before Memorial Day weekend. So it seemed like an average day. But let me look. It
just didn't seem like you guys waited that long.
Theme parks.
2 hours for Minecart is very long. But anyway, about Defending Your Life, kind of jumping back into it.
Yeah.
What were some of the bits that you thought were really funny? The last thing I want to talk about is the comedy. Because I think, personally, even though I love the movie and I love that there's like a lot of like philosophical truth to it, I think there's a lot of like romanticism in it. I think it's also just really funny. I really like the when he's watching the TV and it goes to like the late night show and it's like a Johnny Carson type's interviewing a girl and he's like, so you slept with Benjamin Franklin. What was that like? And she goes, he was fat, Bob. And then there's just applause. It's like scattered applause.
They're saying she wasn't a fan of Benjamin Franklin, who famously is.
Never said he wasn't a fan. He was fat.
But she said it in a way that made it seem like she wasn't pleased with the experience.
No, he was just fat, Bob.
Even incredulous that he would ask, how was it?
I also really like
saying
the
he was
waiter.
fat proved that it would be bad.
I love the waiter at the end of the film when they're in the Italian restaurant. He's like, you want some cheese on your broccoli? And he goes, sure. And he goes, 1 second. And he pours like a gallon of cheese on the broccoli. It's so fucking funny to me. He says, how many days have you got? And he goes, 9. He goes, I'm going to bring you 9 pies. I'll be right back. And Al Brooks is like, no, don't do that. No. And he brings back 9 whole pies. He's like, and Al Brooks is like, I didn't order these. And he goes, I made these for you. These are 9 pies for you. You don't want the pies? And
then he got a bunch of steaks on the way. All right, let me tell you.
I'm going to get you steaks.
So this is a Monday. Epic Universe right now. 15-minute wait for Monsters Unchained.
Wow. That's crazy.
This one seems like less traffic overall. But yeah, right now, because Mario Kart was always like north of an hour. Right now it's 70 minutes. Harry Potter was always long. We went there earlier in the day. It was 90 minutes. So
that's so wild to me.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Monsters Unchained, you can go on that ride probably 3 times, 4 times a day without missing anything.
That's awesome.
Anything else? Because yeah, it was great. So you should definitely try that.
Yeah.
I really liked the some of the cutaways to the judges whenever they were like amused by.
Bro, the Casio one is really funny. Casio is one of the largest creators of timepieces in the universe. And he holds up his wrist and he goes, we know. He's wearing a Casio. Yeah. Really good.
That was good. There's one where he was talking about the snowmobile incident, which, as an aside, I thought that was the one that was compelling of like, is it him actually overcoming fear or was it just the pure survival instinct? Because, yeah, he had to crawl however many hours. So there definitely had to be fear in that situation. But yeah, like overall, like the drive to survive will overcome. Sometimes that happens because I'm not a fan of spiders. Hate spiders. But sometimes there's just like you're on a mission, you just need to get something done, and you're like, I don't care about like if there's a spider here or something like that. So like there can be times where certain fears that you have are massively suppressed or just they go out the window. And so I thought that was a compelling
Mhm.
incident to.
Yeah.
But when he finishes at the end, because then he's talking about like, oh, I never rode on one again, which maybe out of fear, but also again could just be out of like, if this went bad for me, why would I ever put myself in a position to have it go wrong again? I nearly died. Why would I do it again? So that could just be
He said it
pure
was out of
intelligence.
hate. He said, "I hated,
Yeah,
hated,
but he was
hated."
like,
Like he
and so he
tried.
went through
I think it's a
launches.
compelling argument to say that he tried it, he didn't like it, and he doesn't want to do it again. I wouldn't say he avoided them out of fear. I would say it was out
Yeah,
of hate. I think that's a compelling argument on his point.
I agree. But so he goes through and he's like, oh, they're so loud, this is that. And he goes, he ends it with, and your balls vibrate for 3 weeks afterward. And then it cuts to the judges being like, okay. And then it cuts
Ugh.
to the defense lawyer who just does a smile like, like
I love it. Rip Torn is great in this movie. He's really, really good.
So yeah, I really like that one. Again, a lot of good one-liners here and there. That died on stage when he's talking to the comedian. He's like, "How'd you die?" It's like on stage, like you. That was pretty good.
Mhm.
Imagine
What
that.
does what does
Imagine.
Rip Torn say? He's like, "Where were you?" And he's like, "You wouldn't understand." And he's like, "Try me." And he goes, "I was trapped in the intersection of thought." He says something
He says
stupid
something.
like
He
that.
references, yeah, some like place he visited or whatever. And he's
Yeah,
like, "I don't understand."
I don't understand.
Told you. Uh, in one of the early ones, I wrote down a few like jokes or one-liners that I enjoyed early on when they're first getting introduced. There's that one lady in the tram that's talking to them about like, here's all the stuff you can
Oh yeah,
do. She's like, and we have golf. Who likes golf? And then it cuts to everyone. No one
just
raises
sitting
their
there.
hand, and she goes, "You can't quite lift your arms yet, but I'm sure you're excited for it." So it's like she asks that question, knowing they're still like
Yeah.
paralyzed. They can't lift their arms.
I love the old lady on the tram where she's comparing his hair to her poodle, and she's like about to talk to her poodle. And she goes, do you have a minute?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, yeah." And she goes back to talking about her poodle, and it cuts to like 30 minutes later on the tram, and she's still talking about it.
Yeah.
There's really good little bits in this.
Yeah, it was really good. So I like all that stuff. Yeah, again, overall, it's just really cozy. I think really comforting. And if you had to levy a criticism at defending your life, what would it be, Dylan?
I think it can be slow a little towards the middle, but to me personally, I enjoy watching the dynamic between Meryl Streep and Al Brooks so much that to me it's not slow. I find it thoroughly enjoyable. I think their chemistry is fantastic. I think they're one of my favorite on-screen couples of all time. I think the bits that they run together are really cute. I think like the fun moments they have where they're playing mini golf together, they go to the Past Lives Pavilion. I think that's all really cute. I enjoy them very much. I like the kind of person she's trying to bring out in Al Brooks. I like the banter they have. Al Brooks has really good banter where they're talking about leaving your mailman, knowing your mailman's name, know your butcher's name. They have really, really good bits with each other, and it's cute.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just feels like real. It feels very real compared to a lot of other rom coms that I see. It reminds me of When Harry Met Sally. That's another good example of like really, really good chemistry.
Yeah, they definitely do feel part and parcel with each other there. I would say Meryl Streep, lovely as she is, again, she's incredible, amazingness. Who wouldn't want to hang around her and everything?
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of part of what they're talking about in, her living that perfect life or whatever. She's gonna be able to go right on through, but
Mm-hmm.
there's just nothing bad about her. There's like no flaw. There's no issue that they have in the relationship.
Yeah, I don't want there to be a flaw. The issue is entirely stemming from his fear. That's like the whole point. It's like a very simple plot.
Yeah, but
Very
that's
simple
never how
premise.
it is, in real life. And then
This
even
isn't
when it
real life.
does
They're
come to
dating.
that, they emphasize so much. Like again, this feels okay. This feels effortless. This feels natural. So
Mhm.
why the heck did he get in his head about it at the very end when she was like, "Oh, you want to come into the room?" And he's like, "I want to, but what if it's not great? What if it's this or that?" And it's like, okay. What if it is? Whatever. So you don't go up to the room. It's still your last night together. Why didn't they just hang out, go and explore more of the Judgment City, or just chill on the couch there talking like that?
Because he's afraid.
Yeah,
He's legitimately afraid.
but he said afraid of the sex not going well, and so take that
He
out of
just
it
has
and then
fear.
just hang
He just
out,
has
just chill.
fear. It doesn't matter. He has fear, and the whole point of the movie is he has to get over that. A part of it is
Agreed.
him realizing that fear exists. I mean, you said it yourself. You explained like the kind of basic plot of how that third act wraps up.
Yeah.
is him discovering that he does have fear and that he lives his life in fear, and he has to get over that in order to have
Right.
what he
Here's
wants.
what I'm saying is like they needed to have that happen where there's like a moment where they could take their relationship to a different level and then he feels fear about that. That's understandable, 100%. But I'm just saying, even if he were to acknowledge that, which he pretty much did, and it's like, why not still, enjoy the relationship for what it is at that current point, which is just them, again, going around, walking through the city,
Because the night's over.
chatting it up, having fun, all this. Because she was still fine. She was like, okay, fine, whatever. Now let's do something else. Like she was totally game to just chill,
Because he
hang out.
ruined it. Because he ruined it. He
Yeah, but
ruined
he
the
didn't
moment.
though.
But he's
He
afraid that he
didn't.
did. Because he has fear. I don't know what
She
to tell you.
told him
He's just a very anxious human being.
in her perfection. She said, "You're fine. You're chill,
Okay,
bro.
we got to
Get
move
out of your
on.
head."
We got to move on. How many pies out of 5 do you give Defending Your Life?
I'm giving it 4 pies out of 5.
I'll take it. I, of course, give it 5 out of 5. This is my comfort movie. I watch it 4 or 5 times a year. I absolutely love
Four
this
or five
film.
times a year.
Yes, I've seen it 8 times, and I first watched it 2 years ago.
My God,
Love, love, love this film. So,
they're gonna show you watching this film in one of your trial days.
and I'm gonna say, oh my god, what a good choice that I made. That was not out of fear. That was out of love. Please go watch this movie. It's fantastic. It's a little bit of a deep cut, a little bit harder to find. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere right now, but if you can find it, watch it. The next movie we need to talk about here, this is actually very, very high up on my list. I think it's like number 4 in my favorite films of all time. It like crawled up there very slowly. It started at number 10 and it's worked its way up and up each time I watch it. And it's
Hmm.
honestly, if I watch it a few more times, it could be number 1, which is terrifying, right? It's crazy.
Wow.
This movie is Wings of Desire by Wim Wenders. I love this film. It is very, very slow. It is very methodical. It is very careful. But to me, it is like watching poetry in motion. It is watching humanity and human connection. It has so many beautiful moments in it. And again, I watched these 2 movies at a time in my life where I really needed to see them. And where Defending Your Life is kind of about dealing with fear and living your life without fear, Wings of Desire is kind of like trying to enjoy life for what it is. The movie ends with a dedication to the real angels, and Wim Wenders lists off some real filmmakers: Yasujiro Ozu, um, Tarkovsky. I forget who the other ones are, but he lists off real filmmakers.
Francois, assuming
Yeah,
Truffaut.
Francois Truffaut. Yeah, he lists off real filmmakers as like angels. And so when I watch this movie, I it's of course it's about angels who are observing Berlin and they can hear the thoughts of the people as they walk through. And it's really just like a first person perspective, zooming in on these people of Berlin and kind of looking into how they think and what they think of, their anxieties, their fears, what they love, what they hate, their innocence, their lack of innocence, their good thoughts, their bad thoughts. There's moments where the angels are just recapping what's happened throughout the day, the good things, the bad things, the mundane, the real, so and so got a coffee, a car crash happened. There was a blimp that blew by 1,000 years ago. This was a swamp that a dinosaur walked through. Like, just like objective facts almost. And there's like a beauty in the objectivity of it, of just viewing these things through the lens of these angels who are just merely, it's their job to observe and gather information and not judge, not involve themselves, not particularly feel in any way. And this one angel who's been watching them for centuries and centuries, he now wishes to be with them, to join them. He feels love for these people. He feels love for the life that they live. He wants to feel pain. He wants to taste coffee. There's a really, really, really good moment in this movie where Peter Falk, who plays himself, which is a great choice, he's
Yeah.
like in Berlin shooting a movie or something. And the angel, who's Bruno Gantz, he like comes up to him, and obviously they're all invisible to the people. He comes up to him at a coffee stand, and Peter Falk kind of stands there and he can like sense that there's something with him. And he's talking out loud to the angel, even though he can't see him. And he's saying, I know that you're there. I just want to say that being here is beautiful. Being here in this cold is beautiful. The feeling of putting your hands together and rubbing them together and feeling the warmth and having a coffee in your hands and tasting the coffee and smoking a cigarette and being with somebody and holding their hand and holding their body. Like, these are wonderful, beautiful things. And like, I love you, my friend. And that's like what he says. It is so simplistic and it is so beautiful. It is absolutely incredible. It is poetry in motion. The entire third half, when it turns into color, is getting into spoilers. When Bruno Gantz becomes a human, he decides to abandon being an angel. That whole shot is beautiful. Where he is like being held. He's like talking to the other angel, and the camera tracks over to the soldiers, and it tracks back, and now he's being held in the arms of the other angel, and you can see that he's like weaker now. He's no longer as ethereal as he used to be, and then he
Mhm.
lands on the side of the Berlin Wall, and the armor lands on top of his head, and he like reaches to his head, and he feels that he's bleeding, and he sees the blood in his hands, and it's red, and he can feel pain now, and he can see color now. The scene where he goes up to the guy and he's asking what each color is because he's never seen the colors before. The
Mhm.
whole scene, I love when he finally gets to see the woman he's been fantasizing about when they go to the concert and they're sitting there at the bar and they're just talking to one another while the other angel was watching them. It's Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds are playing, and he's
Yeah.
just talking to the woman, and they're talking about like love and affection, and he's like reaching out to her. He finally found her after like hunting her down for many hours. It's just all just so fantastic. What was your you just watched this for the first time, right? Like a couple days
Indeed.
ago.
Correct. Yeah.
Please
Right.
tell me what your initial impressions are.
So my initial impressions, I 100% agree with the idea that's like poetry in motion.
Mhm.
I love the poetic language that we get to hear, like all the, the internal monologues that everyone is having constantly throughout their
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
I really liked that. And then also just the visual component as well. I had always imagined, like, I was like, oh, the black and white
Mhm.
cinematography, major part of it. I didn't know that it ever dips into color.
Mhm.
And there were some flashes of it, which I thought were very compelling. And then obviously, once he becomes human, it hits into full color. And so I love the storytelling choice to have that divide because it
Mhm.
gives you the idea of even when it's not like pure joy, like sometimes we get the moments of color when that one dude is reflecting on World War II, and there's one lady that was in a laundromat, and
Mhm.
we don't know if it's peace, loneliness, somberness, whatever it might be, but there's just like a very intense feeling and mood that we get as it cuts to color very briefly there. So I love that idea of color essentially being, the full spectrum of human emotion and human feeling that is possible.
Mhm.
That being juxtaposed against the black and white, where again they're able to peer into everybody's thoughts, but they're not able to feel on that very powerful, visceral level what they're going through, or even what their world looks like, even though they know, every little thought that they have. So I love that storytelling choice. Again, a lot of the moments that they showcase of like the internal monologues of people were super compelling. I think the one where it was the guy had a motorcycle accident or just a car
Mhm.
accident.
He's dying. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the angel comes up and seems to be trying to help him, through it, reassure him in some way. Sort of what I take it as is him kickstarting his sort of like flashing through his life, all the things that he
Mhm.
remembers, that he loves, that he cared for.
Mhm.
And then it starts with, references to real world items. And then it gets sort of more focused on just the pure essence of things like nature around him, like brought up
Mhm.
like the veins within leaves, stuff like
Mhm.
that, the colors of the stones. And then, of course, it comes back to his family, his parents, his wife, his children. So I thought that was very moving.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think a lot of that stuff hit really, really, really well. Overall, I think I'd probably need to see it another time, maybe when
Mhm.
I'm a little more open and receptive.
Mhm.
Because I was excited to watch it for sure.
Sure.
But as I was watching it, I also felt, I don't know, just a little tired, a little languid. And
Oh,
so,
no, you watched it when you were tired? Big mistake,
and
huge. This
so,
movie's very slow.
well, yeah, so I never, yeah, I did not off or fall asleep during any of it, but I was, I don't know, feeling a little restless, even though, again, overall, the slowness of it, like I liked. I think it's necessary for film like this for sure.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I just wished that I know I had a little bit of a better viewing experience so that I could fully be enveloped by it.
Sure.
Because there are a lot of things I'm like appreciating, and again, like the storytelling choices,
Mhm.
appreciating how they approached it. Um, but I don't know that I was wrapped up in feeling
Mhm.
as intensely as I
Sure.
would have liked. But again, this one as well, like the message of these angels, at least they witness humanity, but they're not able to experience it.
Mhm.
And then so all the little things that we take for granted, again, the cold on your skin, even just the colors that we see, like all of that stuff, let alone like the strong human connection that you can have, is beautiful. It's a thing
Yeah.
that if we were on the outside and we never had experienced it, it would be something that we would crave so deeply. So we should enjoy that we do have it. We do have that
Yeah.
full spectrum available to us.
It's a beautiful
Um,
film.
so yeah, I like that
Mhm.
stuff. Again, as a note of perhaps the criticism here, where the um, the female character is, the embodiment of perfection, and then does a 5-minute monologue, which again, very like intellectual and kind of philosophical language that she's using there, which is engaging. But I'm like doing a 5-minute monologue to a man that she has never like actually seen or met. But again, you can make the case maybe she's felt that connection from him being the angel looking over her.
Mhm.
But to drop 5 minutes of her basically saying like we are we are man and woman, and we are not just creating something for us, we're creating something for everyone, we are setting the terms of the game. And all the while he's just looking at her and is like clearly trying to go in for a kiss. Um so I don't know, something
No,
like
I
that.
think
I
it's
felt like
romantic. I think it's all metaphorical and it's
I
all
think
very like high
yeah,
art, of
it's very
course.
outsized and meant to be,
Yeah.
yeah, like
It's not meant to be
something.
realism. None of the movie, as much as it's supposed to be about like the ordinariness of life, I think all of the dialogue with it being so heightened is meant to be uh purposefully very, very metaphorical and theoretical. And I
Yeah,
think
and
his
I like that.
presence, I think him becoming a human and experiencing that as a human as opposed to an angel. Because when he is this angel, he's seeing like the inner depth of thought, and it's all so profound and deep, and it's not like it's people saying the things that they want to say, saying that their feelings and saying everything out loud. And I think him becoming a human and meeting this person he's been searching and pining after and being able to have that experience with her as a human being as opposed to just being an angel is that feeling that like even here on earth the deepest parts of you, the deepest parts of your soul, like the parts of you that you wouldn't want to share with anyone else, you can still show that as much as you want to, as much as you're willing to, even to a complete stranger that he is in this film. And I think that's beautiful that she's gone through the entire movie. She's upset of like the place of the circus, about her place in the kind of the world in general, and she's meeting this person, and she can finally like open up to this man and be completely herself in a very high art, very poetic sort of sense. It feels, I don't know, it touches me very deeply.
I like that take on it.
Yeah,
um
I don't think it was
Yeah,
ever
even
meant
on
to
the
be
human
like
sense,
a.
you can open it up like that. But
Mhm,
I would have liked, because what I think they did well with, because a lot of the inner monologue thoughts are kind of monotone in their delivery, and
mhm,
so I like the idea of they can access the literal thoughts, but they can't feel like the emotion that's behind it.
mhm,
And so it's not delivered in a way that's very dynamic and expressing the emotion they're feeling. Because a lot of the times,
mhm,
these people are either experiencing intense joy or depression or whatever it is. But the monologues aren't necessarily reflecting that. And then I like that
mhm,
he's only able to actually fully get the complete picture when he's human, when he's able to see color, and then he's also able to like really understand the emotional side of it. Like I think that was it's what I thought they were going for, and I thought that was very complex and beautiful in its own way.
mhm.
But then when she again delivered that 5-minute monologue in pretty much the same way that she'd been delivering the internal monologues, I was like, oh, I guess that wasn't the intention. I just would liked for them to have stripped
I
that
think
back a
again
little
the
bit
intention
more
is
and made it
that
grounded.
that part of you that is deep down inside that he's able to witness as an angel, you can still experience that in other people
Which I
in real
like.
life.
I
Because I
like your take on that, but
Yeah. You can
I
still
I still
see
don't feel that.
these glimpses of these things, obviously not in such a very profound way. Like, I'm not gonna meet a stranger and they're gonna have that 5-minute monologue with me, but I can still,
Yeah,
like,
you would run for the
even
hills to be
without
honest.
even yeah. No, maybe. Uh, even in real life, when you meet somebody and you, like, learn deeper about them and you see more of them, like, you can feel what he feels as an angel. You can feel who they are deep down inside just radiating from them, and I think that's kind of the impression they were trying to give, is that the angel is now experiencing this from a first person perspective as a human, and he can feel what he felt before is still there.
Right. I would have loved to have that come through more in just the unspoken way.
Sure.
Like, yeah,
Okay.
now now that they're able to, physically touch, she's able to see him.
I can
Like
understand
now
that.
they engage on that level rather than,
I can understand that
again,
desire.
which is a beautiful piece of writing for sure, but it didn't quite land for me in that way. Um, but again, overall, yeah, I really appreciate what it's going for. Definitely has big ambitions and is able to deliver the Peter
Yeah,
Falk element. That was hilarious.
he's
Did you
fantastic.
watch Columbo after or before
I
this
did.
movie?
I watched it
You
after,
gotta okay,
and
because you're on a little Columbo
I
kick,
got
and I
really
was
into
like,
Columbo after I watched this movie.
so
Yeah,
this must be why. Because I
Peter
was watching,
Falk
and I
is
was like,
great in
did this
Columbo.
guy start
One
watching
last
Columbo
question.
because?
Do you have a pen by any chance? I love Columbo. The way that he investigates is so good. It's fan because he's acting. The whole point is he's supposed to be acting like he's like a stupid bumbling detective, but really he's the smartest guy in the room every time he's in a room. And so he's
Mhm.
just like, just one more question. What I don't understand is if you were here in the apartment and nobody else was here, I mean, who else could have killed them? Just off my mind. Just to think about it. It's
Yeah.
just his delivery is fantastic. And
Mhm.
he's great in this one too. I mean, he's just so good. He's great in Princess Bride. I love Peter Falk. He's fantastic.
He is, yeah, a true treat in this for sure. All right, any other thoughts you want to give on Wings of Desire? Again, this is in your top 4.
Yeah,
This is
this movie
amazing.
is beautiful. Perhaps top 5. Let me look it up right now so I can be absolutely certain. I want to make
You're saying
sure
it's
I'm spitting facts right now,
a
so I can
number
tell you
1
exactly where it's a number one
contender.
contender. If I watched it a couple more times and rewatch Goodfellas, it could. Let's see. Right now it's my number one on my Letterboxd top 4. But that's just because that's not actually reflective. It's just the movies that I like right now. Like my Letterboxd top 4 is Wings of Desire, Defending Your Life, Some Like It Hot, and Do the Right Thing. Uh, but my actual list that I have here of my favorite films, Wings of Desire is indeed number 4 right now, right behind Parasite, Star Wars, and Goodfellas, and just above Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I think so.
And
Kicked
Defending Your
out
Life is
Raiders.
24.
Wowza. But yeah. So any other last comments on Wings of
I just
Desire?
absolutely love this movie. I think it radiates life. I think it's beautiful. I think the idea of being an angel and being able to witness the beauty of life from that lens is gorgeous. It's something that I've like fantasized about, like being able to just walk through life in like a pure fashion of just pure spectacle and wonderment of being able to just enjoy life for what it is and be joyous and find the beauty in the small things is obviously something that is like desirable and something you'd want to have in your life. And it's so difficult with how stressful life can be with everything going on in everybody's lives. It's very, very difficult to kind of have that perspective. But I think having the ability to take a breath and take a step back and see everything in a wider lens, but also be able to see the smallness of every decision and the smallness of everybody and how everybody kind of fits into everything. There's just so much in this movie that I think is beautiful, and it's something that I want to emulate in my real life. And it's just so difficult and so hard and almost impossible. And I wish that I could, but I love this film.
Drop a piece of armor on your head.
Oh
Will make
God,
you
give me a
make you
concussion,
live life anew.
please.
Uh, One other thing I want to point out, I guess two things. One, I think it's great that this is like a little time capsule of Berlin right before the
Mhm.
wall fell.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
super fascinating. Also ties in with, again, not maybe the most luxurious time for that city, and yet it's still one where he found it beautiful enough to become a human in it. So I
Mhm.
thought that's compelling. Also, the little motif of when a child is a child, all these things, right? All
Mhm.
the wonderment and joy, experiencing life at a new time. And then we constantly get like, now it's not so, or now it's different. But then once he becomes human, as he's walking through, it touches on feelings, experiences, ideas, attitudes you have as a child that do continue. And
Mhm.
that, again, like that childlike joy
Mhm.
doesn't go away entirely. Like, certainly
Yeah.
some parts of it are minimized, and some parts of it are, evolved and traded up for more significant, more mature,
Mhm.
other kinds of experiences. But there's
Yeah.
still that, the kernels of what really made life so wondrous as a child. When you see it for the first time, it still endures, even
Mhm.
when you're far older. And I think that's a beautiful element that the film had as well.
Mhm.
So, yeah. All right. How many
Two last things I want to say now.
Oh yeah, hit it up.
One. Now that you bring that up, my Letterboxd profile bio is "Als das Kind Kind war."
All right, what does that mean? Translate.
That's when the child was a child. It's the opening of the poem that opens the film. "Als das Kind Kind war."
Mm-hmm.
And I've thought about getting that tattooed on my body. I haven't, but I've thought about it. With the image of him as the angel standing on top of the statue. I love that image.
For sure.
I probably won't get that tattooed on my body because I don't really like the idea of having references in my tattoos. The only one that I have that's a reference is I have Kirby on my body.
But that Kirby and Wings of Desire.
Yeah, and
they make the cut.
And the other thing is, the last thing that I forgot to mention was I love the perspective that it brings in showcasing every single person's thoughts and every single person's perspectives and their worries, their anxieties, their joys. It reminds the viewer that every person that's around them is their own individual person that has their own thoughts, that has their own things going on, that has their own problems, that has their own joys and loves and desires. These are like, everybody around you is a real person and they all have these things going on in their head and it's not just you. And I think that perspective is also beautiful. And these angels get to have that. I don't really want to hear what's in other people's thoughts. I think that would be terrifying, but having the perspective of every person is their own human being that is living life for the first time, that is struggling, that is joyous, that is sad, that is depressed. I think reminding myself of that or remembering that is very, very important. And I think this movie does a very good job of showcasing that.
For sure. All right.
How many Former Angels out of 5, Ryan?
I'm giving it 3.5 Former Angels out of 5. Again, I told you this is one that I'm sure on rewatch will increase. Probably not as high as for you, but yeah, definitely one I want to give another go at some point in the future. But yeah, beautiful film, lots of love, lots to think about. It's clear what yours is going to be, but go ahead. How many Former Angels?
It's a 5 out of 5. Absolutely, right. It's a perfect film. It's gorgeous. It's incredible. It's shot incredibly well. It's beautiful through and through. The dialogue is absolutely incredible. The things that these people say, the things that people think. It's poetry in motion, like you said, like I said. I mean, can't recommend this movie enough. It is, albeit very slow. It is very slow, but it's incredible. All right, that's all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main south theme for the show, Sundown, by Joseph McDade.
If you like the show, please give us 5 stars, whatever podcast app you're listening to, and be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of your day.